ye, we've got another small crossover competition, a threesome. Let's do this.
Baby Bronco. That's the first in the trilogy today. Couple of different engine options on the Ford Bronco Sport. You could do a 1.5 little porquito, little 3-cylinder, 180 horsepower. You could do that, or you could do the 230 horsepower. These are, real quick, my numbers are all ballpark. The way I like to say it is, I'll take you to the ballpark, but I'm never going to put you on base. I always implore you to do your own research, because my numbers, I could just pull them right out of thin air and you never know. Anyway, back to the review. 230 horsepower with that 4-cylinder EcoBoost. You do get a 4-potter when you go up to the 2-liter. Now, no CVT transmissions in the Bronco Sport. Those are all 8-speed automatics. Matter of fact, the only CVT transmission we've got in this comparison belongs to the Nissan. Shocker. Anyway, back to the Bronco. We're going to get over there. Bronco Sport. Ford's resurrected their entire off-road marketing thing. Ford Bronco, full-size Broncos back in the 60s. They're conquering Bajas. In the 80s, there was a Bronco too. I know I'm all over the place. Just stick with me, roll with me, go with me. 80s, they had a little baby Bronco too. It was a complete, total disaster. It was at 2.9. I owned one myself. It was okay. It was a decent. Anyway, I got to get back to this one. Ford Bronco Sport. Okay, we're towing. If you need to tow something, don't tow anything with this. It's not a towing type of vehicle. Now, if you are a larger like myself, I'm about 6'1", about 268 this morning. Am I bragging? No, that's not what we do here. What I'm telling you that is, don't get this size, first of all. But secondly, I tell you that so you can compare your size to mine, and you'll know how you would fit in the back of a Ford Bronco Sport. It is one of the largest of it. Matter of fact, as far as headroom, it is the largest. Knee room, it's right there. Anyway, coming along to the back, it's all based upon off-road and ruggedness. Okay, there's even like a little picnic table type thing you can get as like an option, and it pulls out and it's for outdoor use and all that. Anyway, we got some swivel lights up there in the top of that little, in the top of the lift gate. Very cool. They shine down on the pavement or into the cargo area. Either way, it's not a big lighting thing, but you know what I'm talking about. Also, this is the only little crossover here that has the lifting rear hatch. As far as just the glass, the rest of those you have to lift up the entire hatch. That's just the way that goes. Gas mileage, this is probably going to be the worst of the gas mileage of these three. You're probably going to get low 20s. You might possibly see 30 miles per gallon on the interstate. Don't bet on it though. First generation Bronco Sports, they got a little bitty 8-inch screen, little bitty porquito baby, it sucks. We all complained, we all bitched. Well, guess what? Ford listened, and now you get 13 inches. Overcompensation, but now you get a big, huge 13-inch screen, and it's right there with all of your options and all that. You got GOAT modes and whatever else. As far as prices go, you might still be able to find one in the high 20s, but let's just call it 30 just for the fun of it, and then we'll move on up into probably mid 40s. I don't think you'll see 50, but I know you're going to see 44, 45 on a full-on decked out Badlands or whatever the top of the line is and all of that. Anyway, that's all I got to say about the Ford Bronco Sport. I personally have slept on Mazdas for a very long time, and that's a problem of mine. That's a mistake of mine. Mazda's putting out some really good products right now. I do want to preface it by saying this is the smallest of these three as far as back seat room. And the reason why I bring that up is these are family cars. Okay, that's what we've decided. This is what the whole damn thing is about. I know single people be buying them when they get out of college and all that, and I understand that. But a lot of times they're going to be used as family crossover warriors, soldiers, daily duty beaters. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so if you're of a larger size family, keep that in mind. You've only got one engine option right here. Well, that's a lie. It's one engine, but you get it with or without a turbo. About 187 horsepower or something like that with the non-turbo version. And then I think it's like 260, 267, something like that. Anyway, a little past the 250 mark. If a little driving experience is something, let's say maybe you owned a Ford Mustang GT or you owned a Camaro SS, and then you met the girl of your dreams, you went on a date and
wick dipping.
Now guess what? There's a baby on the way. It's coming. So now you got to get a little crossover, right? Because baby car seats, they don't fit in the back of them cars. They do, but it's not fun. Anyway, so you've had to grow up. You've had to go to the family crossover. This one, you might like this one. It handles pretty good. A couple different drive modes. As far as off-road prowess, there is none. But once again, and I say this so many times, not very many people take this type of SUV. First of all, I just completely screwed that up. Not many people take this type of vehicle off-road. People do that more with trucks and real SUVs, but that's an entirely another video. We'll talk about that on another day. But anyway, back to the Mazda. No off-road prowess. You do have all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. You do have a little, okay, as far as towing goes, 1,500 pounds. It's not a big tow thing. None of these guys really are. Matter of fact, the tow king here is the Nissan Rogue, and it has a CVT transmission. So anyway, we're going to get to that later, because CVT transmissions and towing, that does not work. Anyway, back to the Mazda. The Mazda will be the nicest of these three all dolled out. It's also going to be the most expensive. You probably could still find one of these Mazdas under probably 30,000. You might find one for like 29,999, but let's just go ahead and call it 30. All these guys are going to pretty much start at the 30. The Nissan Rogue, you might have a shot at finding it. Anyway, okay, so you're going to start out in the 30s, and you're going to ride that wave of Mazda all the way up, way past 45, 46. You could possibly see 48, 49 grand right there. There's a lot of different options and a lot of charges when you get on up in there. It gets a little pricey, but it is, like I said, the most sports car-y. It's the smallest of the three. So smaller families, smaller folks, stuff like that, that's going to be more where you get in on with that. Larger families, I'm not saying you don't get in to do whatever the hell you want to. You buy whatever you want to. I'm just saying, as far as a comfort level, small. All right. As far as that Mazda, we were talking about that wave of Mazda coming up through the prices. Okay, you're going to start off with an 8-inch screen. I think they just took some Gorilla Glue and stopped and bought an iPad tablet and just stuck it right there on the dash. That is a horrible design, but Mazda didn't call, and that's my opinion. Or you could get the 12-inch screen. If 8 inches is just not enough for you, you can go ahead and bump on up and get that 12, that footer. You can get sunroofs, leather, and all of that stuff. Once again, best driving. Last but not least, the Nissan Rogue. I have dumped on Nissan Rogues for a long time. Hobbly Nation has followed me all over social media talking how bad Nissan Rogues are. Let me explain to you why I say that. First of all, this is a dang good looking car, and it's huge. I mistake it for a Pathfinder on the quick every once in a while, just at the corner of my eye, and think it is a Pathfinder. It's huge, and it looks just like its bigger, wiser, bulkier brother. By the way, the new Pathfinder, no CVT. Nissan is trying to go away from that. Your lower end cars, your Altimas, your Sentras, your Versas, and your Rogues, those are going to be mainly your CVTs. Nissan is moving away from that. The Murano's an 8-speed automatic now, or I don't know how many gears, but it's a geared transmission now, and the Pathfinder is. Anyway, so a Nissan is not a Nissan, it's not a Nissan, it's not a Nissan. The reason why I have dumped on those is, we were just talking about the performance driving with the Mazda. Nissan doesn't have any performance driving. Okay, this thing hates performance driving. Part of the reason because there's a 3-cylinder turbo under the hood. Now, granted, let me get my little cheat sheet right here. Granted, the 3-cylinder turbo is pumping out 200 horsepower. Think about that. Okay, it's not quite as potent and as nasty as the Corolla GR engine, because that's 100 horsepower per hole. But anyway, we're getting 201 horsepower out of a 3-cylinder turbo bolted up to that CVT transmission. You know why it's not peppy? You know why it's not going to set any records going across the Nürburgring? It's not designed to do that. It's not designed to pull, but once again, it is the towing champion of these three, 3,500 pounds. Don't pull with a CVT transmission. If you would like to get your CVT completely burn up and not let it last quite as long as it could, start towing some real heavy stuff. Like 3,500 pounds, yeah, tow those up some big grades and see how well that lasts. Anyway, it's all about gas mileage. As far as gas mileage, none of these other two can touch this. You're going to get probably 35 if you're real easy and light on the pedal and know what you're doing. There's no engine options. You can bump up and get, I think it's a 12-inch screen or a, no, I'm sorry. It's a 9-inch screen. Remember, Nissan's financially in trouble. So you can either have the low 8-inch screen, or if 8 inches just wasn't quite enough, they'll give you 1 more inch and go ahead and get that 9er. 1 inches could make the difference. You never know. 1 inch could be the difference between and anyway. As far as room, massive. Seriously, it's the biggest of all three in every single seat. So take that with you what you will. Cargo room, it's right there. It's huge, it's massive. Nissan's selling a crap ton of these. Base price about 30 grand again. You might be able to find like a fleet deal or something like this, because that's what a lot of these are. You can find base models like the SVs or something. I think that's the base trim model. Anyway, you might be able to find those for like 28, 29, but we're going to call it 30, and I think you might touch 42, 43. I have no idea what zero gravity seats means, but that's something Nissan's floating out. It's supposed to help you with long distance driving. If anybody's made it to this point in the video, comment down there and tell us all about your zero gravity seats, so some of us can experience zero gravity with you.
One thing I would like to mention real quick about the Rogue before we finish up, there's a Rock Creek edition in the 2025 model. So I don't know if it's going to still be able, I don't know the Rock, I don't know about the off-road cred, but it might possibly be able to compete with the Bronco Sport. Here's the way this works, okay? Crossovers, that's just what everybody's selling. That's what everybody's making. Ford doesn't even make a car unless it's two-doored Mustang. I mean, they've got the Mustang crossover. We'll talk about that, the E-car. Anyway, whatever. These are the family cars. This is what the family car looks like in 2025. If you want a sportier ride, you go Mazda. If you don't care about any of that and you want full-on gas mileage, you buy the Nissan. If you're thinking about going off-road, you'll take that Ford Bronco right there. Ford of Murfreesboro in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I cannot say thank you enough for letting me play in your sandbox. Everybody else, have a hobbly.